Hello, beautiful souls. I hope you're doing well. Today we have a really fun, creative, intuitive transmission session because it will have to do with everything that inspires you to follow your dreams, to follow your bliss. And we will have the Mella Collective sharing some thoughts about that, but also, as usual, music and iconography and creations that offer a visual message that can be inspiring to you. So, as mentioned, the title of this CIT is Allow Change and Follow Your Bliss. For those who don't know the expression follow your bliss, it's nothing religious. It's a quote from a wonderful gentleman called Joseph Campbell, for those who know him, who was a teacher for many, many years of mythology, world mythology. And it's a person I've followed and admired for many, many years. Is really someone that really has inspired me to become who I am and what I do. He was often saying in his throughout his work that it was really important for each of us to find our bliss and to follow that bliss at any cost. So this is part of today's message as well. However, following your bliss often entails some changes in our lives, and that's not always a comforting zone. It can be challenging. So the reason why I think I was inspired to share about this topic today is not only because I am myself going through a changes of sorts, and this is not something I'm going to necessarily address here, but in a future video, because I'm starting a new series on life changes and following your bliss, and my own experiences of trying to start a new life and a new project. So, but that's something else. So, but I am in that mood right now. So obviously, since Mella is the collective of souls, my soul group that I'm part of, obviously we're delving into this right now because this is what I'm doing in investigating. And so obviously it's something that's part of my psyche. So I guess it's also the reason why we are inspired to talk about it today. Furthermore, it's really important to realize, for those who already know, that our financial system is about to change very, very, very soon. I mean, it could be anytime now, and it's one thing to say, well, I can't do this and that because I don't have the money. But then when suddenly you have the money, you realize that perhaps what was stopping you from following your dreams and bliss was not necessarily the lack of money, which was a beautiful excuse and comforting excuse, but maybe you were having limiting beliefs, fears, anxieties, fear of change that prevented you from actually jumping into trying to follow your dream and bliss, and even if it's a little bit crazy or out there. So the reason I think I'm inspired to talk about this today is because many of us are presently starting to think that, what's the type of life I would really want to lead if I had the money, because money will be coming soon. So, and even if money was not coming soon, on a general kind of earth level, planet level, there's always an opportunity for you to manifest your reality and create your own reality by having the courage to follow your own dreams with money or without money. So it's not just a money thing, but it's also connected to it, obviously on a grounded level. So, so first of all, okay, well, we'll look at the music just for the kick of it, and then after that, we'll see about the message. So the two pieces of music that were inspired today for this session, the first one is called Danse bohémienne by Claude Debussy. Danse bohémienne in French means a gypsy dance or bohemian dance. It's a classical piece of music from the turn of the century from a French classical composer I loved very, very much, Claude Debussy. And Danse bohémienne is it's a joyful piece of music. You can imagine people actually kind of jumping around. It's kind of happy. And I kind of like the fact that it was about a bohemian dance, not only because dance suggests this leaping of joy that often comes with realizing our dreams and following our bliss, our, the call of our soul. But bohemian can be interpreted in this session as the purpose of bohemian people and gypsy people which was to always be on the road, in the sense that they were a nomadic people and still are, and it was about experiencing, life through journeys and through different experiences on the road. So that's kind of interesting because not everybody's dream is about traveling. It certainly is mine, but there's a lot of people out there who I know for whom traveling or changing location, living and starting a new life somewhere in a no little location is something that speaks to their heart. So there's this element there with the bohemian element, which I find kind of interesting. The other piece of music that was suggested to us today is called Island Sun by Hotham. It's kind of electronic, happy, light music. It reminds me very much of the type of music you could hear, on a commercial about, going into the sun or something like that. It's very kind of happy, light, but it gives you that little feeling. You feel like dancing when you hear that music, and you feel like being in the car on a road trip or on a bus or on the plane or something. It has this, happy, moving vibe that again complements a little bit the danse bohemienne, which is very different in style, but there's this element of joy and dance, in the leaping of joy, in the movement of life, and finding the joy also through the element of travel, which is very present there. Then we have our background behind, which is very funny because one day when I'm going to start that series, which I'm going to talk to you about what are the places that I want to travel to. It's always about, the North Atlantic and the cliffs over the Nordic Ocean and the west coast of Ireland or the east coast of the America. So it's always, that comes to me when I think about doing a new life, starting a new life. It's those kinds of regions. And here we are with this beautiful kind of Irish Faroe Island highlands and a type of climate, with very bare cliffs overseeing a beautiful Nordic Ocean cliff. And you have this lovely child here. We don't know if I think it's a boy. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. Who's like standing in his sovereignty and his joy. And he's just like curious, and he's marveling at what in front of me, which is this beautiful, amazing, beautiful being, which is I don't know if it's a sperm whale or a blue whale. I'm not a specialist of whales, but anyway, it's a huge whale that's just jumping in the air, leaping again. And we know that these beautiful sea beings are extremely inspiring, and they probably come from upstairs, and they are inspiring. They're very wise, and they bring us I don't know, some element of our spirituality as well, which connects us to soul. But there it is, like just leaping and almost entertaining the child here. So I see this as an inspiration for travels, for marveling at life, for going back to the inner child as well, because what really comes out in this whole question of following our bliss and starting to realize our dreams that we've had perhaps for many years is that it often starts with some dreams we had as a child, And for me, like, for example, wanting to live in the west coast of Ireland was a dream I had since I was a little girl. And I went there in 1991, and I was like, this is going to be my home one day. And it was just like, I always felt home in Ireland, like, because I lived there in past lives, because I'm an Atlantean. And so, Ireland and Egypt and other regions were always connected to my heart because of that. But, you always go back to the child in you, and you will discover there what the child has always wished and wanted. And always the essence of the child has within itself all your dreams there. So sometimes people are thinking, oh, I'd like to make a life change, but I'm not exactly sure what it is. Like, I just need to change. Well, an opportunity to know exactly what it is that your heart and soul want is to go back to your childhood, look at that inner child, and see what that inner child dreams of. Even if it sounds crazy, like, I don't know, flying or seeing magical creatures or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's not about that. It's about following what really appeals to you and just speaks to your heart. So there is really an invitation in this background to acknowledge the dreams of the inner child, because there lies a lot of the inspiration for your dreams and following your dreams. Now, this is pretty much what the visual aspect of it. Before we go to the Japanese paper collage that I've created for this session, there's another element that the Mella Collective I'm part of also wants to develop a little bit and talk about here, which has to do with allowing change, because this is part of the title of our CIT today. Change is, it can be something that inspires us, that we want in our lives, but it's complex and it's sometimes paradoxical, because through change, there's also a lot of resistance that can be come up in our desire for change, because a part of us might want change, but some part of us might not be ready for it, or have limiting beliefs, limiting fears, limiting anxieties, all kinds of limiting things and limits that prevent us from actually, and sometimes it's unconscious ones, that actually prevent and sabotage us into the realization of our dreams or hopes or following our bliss or anything like that. May it be, for traveling, from starting a new life somewhere, to engage in a relationship with a new person. It can be starting a new job, or starting a job that's more, starting a new profession or self-employed profession. It can be all kinds of things, following your bliss. But it's really important to remember that we don't come as a clean slate. We always have a baggage, and either limiting beliefs from transgenerational kind of lineage issues and fears, which can have to do with money or self-trust and self-confidence. It can also have to do with previous experiences that were negative or challenging, and that make us kind of fear to go back again into that, trying to realize your dreams or follow your bliss. So one element that's really, really super important that the Mella Collective really wants to insist upon is that when we ask the universe, oh, I want to do this or do that, or be this or be that, it's really important to also kind of surrender. And I say this in sovereignty, but allow, let's say more than surrender, allow the universe and source in mana to work through you and offer you what you need, rather than always just what you want. And this is a really, really important element. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear, there's a ambulance here. Sorry for the noise. The thing is that what often happens is that we want something, we haven't, sometimes it's almost obsessive. Like, okay, I'll give you my example. Like, I want to live in the southwestern coast of Ireland, live on the cliff, and construct my own tiny house and live there with an eventual partner that I would meet. And there I would be very creative, but also engage in a small community. Okay, that's my dream. Okay, that's my bliss. That's what I want. So I will have the tendency to do everything in order for me to realize these specific goals. However, sometimes there are certain steps that need to be taken in order for us to be completely ready for that type of dream or whatever. And sometimes we don't have all the elements within us yet to do, or we're not ready entirely, I don't know, I'm just giving, this is not my case, but example, let's say we talk about that dream I have. But for a reason or for another, I don't know, you're afraid of, you're afraid of being bored in a small community, let's say. But you want to do that dream, but you're bored of being, scared of being bored in a small community. So there is a step there in which you have to kind of work on that fear of being bored, and really have to do the shadow work of resolving certain issues. Like, why are you bored in small communities? Why do you need to always be entertained in like big action? Are you scared of living a calmer life? Are you scared of being closer to people and more engaged to people? Does that have to do with issues you might have about engaging with people and relationships with people? Could it have to do with you being scared of like emptiness and void and just, so it's also the universe will not necessarily give you always what you want. The universe will give you what is good for you to learn and evolve as a soul, because after all, your purpose on life is to evolve as a soul. So, in the case of the example I'm talking about, moving, in Ireland and moving in a small community, well, you might have, before you're actually able to experience that particular lifestyle, you might end up, life or the universe might throw at you an experience where you're going to end up in another type of community at all, which is not even something you wanted. But then in that particular space and community, it would give you the opportunity to experience like engaging with people. And that would make you better at it. And you would actually work on the challenge of that. And then, sometimes it would be difficult, but sometimes you would feel better. And because you feel proud of yourself because you're like, oh, wow, I was able to engage with people. I was able to live in a small community and appreciate it. And so maybe after that, because you have evolved in that way, you will be able, then perhaps the universe will throw at you a project or an opportunity that will bring you closer to your dreams, which in that case, like I was saying, would be to find that, let's say, that small community in Ireland and, and engage there. So what I'm trying to say is that it's not just about having beautiful dreams and having beautiful bliss to follow. And then if it doesn't work exactly as you want on your plan, then you're going to be angry and resentful and discouraged and you're going to abandon everything. No, it's really about saying, okay, this is my dream. This is what I want to do. And you look at the inner child to have clues about that. You also look at the shadow work, like what's left in me that needs to be addressed: fears, anxieties, resistance, reactions, things I still need to work on. And then after that, you say to the universe, okay, this is the whole picture of it, offer me the opportunities, the people, the right situation for me to grow and to really to evolve in this process, and allow the universe to give you what necessarily you want, but what's good for you in order to go into this evolutionary process. So for everybody out there who's wanting to follow their bliss, just remember that it's not just about, saying, I want to live there and do that, and then you just move there and do that. It's also about working with the universe and being ready as well to receive things that are a bit challenging and that you don't necessarily want to do, but that will help you in that dream, in that process. So that's a really, really important point that the Mella Collective wanted to add about this whole question of following your dreams, because it's not just about being a little bit, rigid about what you want and that's it and nothing else. It's also about welcoming and allowing what Imana source, the universe throws at you, because this is what you will need. Now, if we look at our collage today, our collage is called Caracola, which I think is interesting because, as always, those titles for my collages are not necessarily related to a particular existing words, at least that I know of or that I'm conscious about. But this is an interesting word, caracola, because in French, caracoler means jumping all over, like, like a happy child that's just jumping around and doing things like that. So I thought that was kind of funny and interesting. So anyway, I'm just putting that out there. So this particular collage, Caracola, so it shows this beautiful background of purple and gold background of birds in flight, which for me, purple always represents spirituality. Gold represents this connection to source, or the fractal of source that we are. And these beautiful birds in flight in this V kind of movement of flock really for me resonates with this notion of taking flight, opening your wings and following your bliss and following your dreams and not being scared of things anymore, and just be sovereign and courageous and go for it and have the courage to it, because source is always supporting you. It's always there to help you in your journey. So there's that beautiful element of traveling as well through these birds in flight. Then we have that large central circle, which represents, as always, these kind of reeds or a little bit of wheat. We don't really know, but it's kind of plant-like. So it's very oriented toward earth-like grounded energy, which again could be associated with us following our bliss within the realm of our Terran experience, our experience on Earth, and being grounded on Terra and following your dreams is not just about being in the stars, but also about grounding those wishes and dreams into actions and reality on the soil, on the earth, on Terra, on the reality of creating projects that will tangibly take form. So this is kind of the relationship with Earth there. Then we have on the lower circle, the blue circle, blue background with yellow waves represents this notion of fears or challenges that can be associated with either the fear of change or the resistance to change, or being too rigid in what we want and not being able to accept what source offers us. And so this is something we can transcend, but that's still kind of present in the picture of doing a life change. Then obviously on the upper part, we have that beautiful circle of stars, golden stars on a blue background, which again represent this whole notion of dreaming something. You need, in order to realize a dream, you need to not only a project, you not only need to dream it, but also visualize it and be in it emotionally, because this is how you manifest things, is by being in it and making it as real as possible in your mind, in your dreams. This way, your soul really participates in the creation of whatever project it is you want to do. So it also, this circle also relates to our connection to the stars, to our soul group, which supports us and help us as well in our endeavors. In the central part, we have this of the big circle, we have a yellow circle with beautiful red flowers, and we have a smaller red circle, which for me represent the connection to the heart. And the connection to the heart is very important because this is through the heart and not through the brain, although the brain is useful for practical issues, but it's through the heart that we manifest our reality, and we're connected to our source, the fractal of source that we are as a soul, and our soul cluster, so souls. The circle, the golden circle next to it for me could represent the blooming of the child somehow, that's connected to the heart. And there's a little bit of visually, there's a little bit of an asymmetry there. It's not symmetrical the way I've place these two circles. And the purpose of that is also to remember that, it's not just about control, and we need to let go to the magic and natural way the magical and natural way into which things take form, and allow the universe and source to kind of surprise us in the way things happen. They're not always predictive or predicted. Finally, we have those beautiful golden branches here, which represent source, and through the color gold, but also through the motif of the flower of life, which represents here the way in which source supports us, supports our projects. And it's really super, super important to, if you are in a process of wanting to start a new project, but you're terrified or you're scared, always remember that, Source Imana or the universe or your soul cluster has your back. You're never alone in this, but you have to do your own part of courage and sovereignty and decision and trust, and take certain, very tangible actions towards your dream. But then at some point you have to let go and remember that the universe has your back, and you have to be really, really trustful in plenitude and joy and positive visualization, and things will naturally take their course. And sometimes we can have a dream about a certain place or a certain project, and maybe life will bring us to another path which we would never have imagined, and which might be very different from the project we had, but that suddenly we realize, oh my God, this is so much more adapted to who my soul is really, and my actual dream was just like a projection of some sort of something that was projected from my mind, but that does not necessarily was corresponding to really what my soul needed. So we also have to keep open to the possibility for the universe and life to bring us in a different path from what we dream, or just a little bit different. This way it can be even better for us. So again, I will repeat what the Mella Collective said. It's not about necessarily just about what you want rigidly, but what the universe will give you, because this is exactly what you need at that particular time. And you will always receive at each step of your process the exact things that you need at the right time, without having to force anything, and everything will be fluid. So that's kind of the session for today on this inspiring subject of allowing change and following your own bliss, because I know a lot of people are wanting to do so, but they're either terrified or scared, or felt like they've been in a kind of stuck in a rut for years. And it's really now is, especially if there is really this change on Terra, not only in terms of society, politics, but also financially, an opportunity for us to grow. But we have to know what we want. And for doing those projects, we need to know what we want. And for that, we need to know who we are and do that inner journey, but also connect with the inner child that really knows who we are, because our inner child is always connected very deeply with our soul. So Caracola is the original collage is available, as well as a digital file are available on my online boutique at abigaëllerichard.com. And I hope this CIT has inspired you today to perhaps think about realizing and creating tangibly in your life some life changes, or following your bliss, whatever it is. Follow your heart and your inner child. Send you much love. Take immense care of yourself. Bye.
All my gratitude for helping this channel bring high vibrations and high frequencies to more people.